Mel Robbins books. And for some reason, I never listened to her before. If you haven't heard her books, check them out. I think it would really help a number of you if you're stuck. If you're like, I know what I need to do, but I'm stuck actually doing the work. She has two frameworks that she does. One is the 5 second rule. The other one is the high five habit. And what I found is that like I naturally gravitate towards these, and it's a great reminder to have frameworks for things. And they might be habits that you have already always done, but having them in framework format from somebody like her that has done the research is really incredible. And so the 5 second rule is you hack your brain to where if you have an instinct or an impulse to do something, and it's healthy for you, right? Not like a negative impulse, like I'm going to go, slap somebody in the face, but like a healthy impulse to go do something in your life that's going to help you and move the needle forward for you, is that you count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and you go do that work. And that's the gist of her 5 second rule. I would highly recommend at least checking her book out on Audible or checking out some of the videos by her on YouTube on the 5 second rule. Now, the high five habit is another interesting one. I only heard the podcast that she did with Jay Shetty, but the fact that like she was crying on it because of how her heart was touched by sharing this, and I was like, whoa, this is so true, is learning to stop criticizing ourselves, learning to stop beating ourselves up, learning to stop saying to ourselves internally, you're bad, you're wrong, and learn to accept ourselves and say, I'm somebody who's doing my best, I'm doing my best shot, and I'm going to respect myself because I am worthy as a human, and not based off of performance, and detaching that idea of performance equals worth, performance equals value from our lives. And so that's been a huge one for me, is when I removed the need for performance in my life to feel worthy of love and acceptance, so much opened up in my life. And that's what I wanted to kind of come with you and share with you, is learning to remove the hesitancies that you have in your life. When an opportunity comes and you're like, oh, that looks interesting, and then you talk yourself out of it. Your brain is always going to talk yourself out of it. Your brain is always going to talk yourself out of doing what it needs to do. And so you need to work on doing the thing even when you don't feel the best like it. Your feelings are always giving you messages. And this is something that I learned in therapy, is to listen to the feelings, but you don't want to sit in the feeling and let it take you on a journey. You want to say, what are you trying to tell me? Almost like the feeling is an entity or a person trying to say something to you. And there's a message in it. And usually what is the message that I find in a feeling? Well, it's, where did I first feel this way? Why am I afraid of this? Why am I avoiding this? Why am I guilty? Why am I scared? Whatever those feelings are in those situations. Why am I feeling feelings of anxiety in this situation? And then looking at, okay, when did I first feel this way in my life? When did I first feel this way when I was younger? When did I first feel this way in corporate America? Those answers to the question of when did I first start feeling this way really helped me, because then it helped me identify when the belief came in, and the root of the belief, and then being able to replace that with truth, to reparent myself, to be able to tell myself like a loving parent that it's okay, that it's going to be okay, that I was doing my best and loving myself in all versions and all situations of myself. And that's a huge one for you that I would just want to encourage you in, is no matter what you're going through, love yourself in all versions of yourself. Love yourself in all situations. Love yourself in no matter what you're going through. It'll have such a huge impact on your life. It'll create many of the dreams that you have simply by loving yourself. Most of us will never actually experience some of the dreams that we have because we're in the constant cycle of self-hatred and disliking ourselves, and not being our best cheerleader, and being the biggest cheerleader in our lives. And this is one of the first things that my wife taught me when we met, because I was constantly very negative. I've been a very negative, self-hating, self-berating person my whole life, and learning to have the mental control over that way of being, learning to not let how I'm feeling control my life, and saying, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do and what I choose to do in this moment because I want to do it, and giving yourself the chance to build trust with yourself to do more of what you want to do more often. When you start doing that, your life changes so much better. And as a business owner, as a coach, as a mentor, as a trainer, the activities to grow your business, we talk about those 6 steps. Finding your niche, writing your offer copy, creating your landing page, launching with paid advertising, analyzing the results, adjusting the offer copy, scaling things. This is what we've used to scale multiple 6 figures in business for ourselves, multiple 8 figures for companies that we've worked with, and 7 and 8 figures for our clients. And it starts with, for me, being able to show up to actually do the work that produces that. It starts with self-love and self-care and loving myself and being my biggest cheerleader. Okay? So I hope that this encourages you. I was just really inspired by listening to Mel's books, because she's kind of taken some of the frameworks of how I naturally live my life. I didn't have language to specifically, but she's actually put language to some of the things that have made me very successful. And so what I love is when I find an author that does that, like, oh, like they actually have taught and created a framework for what I've done already. I like to share their material with other people because it can help those people as well. And so kind of like why I share Jordan Belfort's The Way of the Wolf book and Dan Kennedy's books. Oh my goodness, Dan Kennedy's amazing. Dan Kennedy's The Ultimate Sales Letter. And now for me, it's funny. I was never really a Mel Robbins fan. I'm not sure why. I just don't think that I was ready to hear her message before. She's kind of brash. She's kind of shoots straight, says things in a way that maybe I wouldn't, but that's okay. There's so much I can learn from her in this lesson. And there's so much that I think that you guys could learn as well. This isn't about like pretending like everything's perfect. This is about actually giving yourself an opportunity to do more of what you want. And by having that freedom to do more of what you want, you feel a whole lot happier and a whole lot more vibrant in your life because of it. So